All right, chapter 7: leadership in groups and teams. Um, the well-run group is not a battlefield of egos. Um, when we think about leadership and we think about groups, we think about teams, which is something that I deal with, on a pretty consistent basis. It's kind of been what my life is. Um, I thought it was unique that was the quote that they picked to kind of wrap up the chapter, was that, it's not a battlefield of egos. And at the end of the day, when you're in a sports setting, because that's, my life is, a lot of these people have egos. A lot of these people, are strong-willed individuals or whatever you want to say. So it's important to find that balance where those people can be themselves, but it's not taking away from the team and it's not taking away from those around them. And it's kind of finding that meeting point where everybody's comfortable, everybody's happy, and everybody's, good with what's going on. So leadership in groups, that was my first point with the quote. Fundamentals of group interaction. Obviously, these things kind of happen. They're on their own, and people are going to find who they click with, and those things can be worked out naturally, right? But we can also engage those things early. Say there's a new leader comes in, tries to kind of get people moving around and talking to other people and kind of becoming a wholesome group. So then we talked about emergent leadership and how people come into power and how to emerge as a leader and how not to learn and emerge as a leader. So a lot of the times, people will become or projected or whatever. For instance, I like to always think when somebody just comes into power is like when you're born in to be a king or queen in England, and you come in and no one really. The only thing that person did to come into power was be born, which, as we know, we have no say in that. We have no say in who we are or what we do before we're born. So to have somebody be in power that has, maybe not the skills other than the fact that they're somebody's son or whatever, I don't think that should be the case. But there's certain ways, if you do come in a leadership role, there's certain ways to do it and there's certain ways not to do it. And the chapter kind of breaks that down pretty clear for us. And then they talked about useful strategies, and then so emergent leaders versus appointed leaders is kind of what I was trying to say earlier. Where emergent leaders, they grow into what they're trying to do. They become successful on their own or whatever, or somebody helps them, but they're not appointed leaders. I think appointed leaders is the biggest joke that you can have. Because appointed leaders, I don't think people listen to the way they should, or listen to the what the person's trying to say, because it's hard to respect somebody who is given the job, to lead you. Why are they different than me? So you want to avoid pitfalls, obviously. When is a group a team? Obviously, you bring in a group of individuals to try to establish a team, but you're not just a team just because you get there and set up and, okay, we're a team. No, you have to develop that and build that. So you develop team building skills. It talked about leading virtual teams and kind of some things through the internet, and with the way, we're headed, things are constantly changing. Team coaching, things like that. But this was one of my favorite chapters that we've read in this whole book, because I can read this and go, hey, you know what? I see this in my everyday life. I see this being relevant in my life. So it was a good chapter. So that was leadership in groups and teams, chapter 7.